All right, let's get to work. I don't know if this looks better or not to you. I'm enjoying it more, so I think that's the important thing. Um, I'm trying a new, different technique on it, and I'm liking it. So, yeah, I'm kind of liking how this is coming in here um, so far. I'm going to start in with the greenery, get my greenery going, and then see how we can do from there. So, start in with some greenery here, and put in some greenery up here in these dark spots. Again, I'm not trying to overwhelm any one spot with one color. I want to put these, start off by these spots coming in with a purpose where the shadows would be. This is the shadow color. I know I'm going to have shadow in here, around here. Okay. Between this face, this rock, some shadows down low. Then I'm going to come into the bright as we get into a shelf wherever there's that. Bring some shadows in there. Now I'm going to start in with a slightly different color to transition out of my shadow with something a little, and it's all right if I get mixed up. Be just like doing the rocks. Just like doing the rocks, I build on what I've got, and transition with many strokes from my darks to my lights to create transition in colors. And so coming from my darks outward, get some of this dark color in here. Again, I'm going to direct some, I'm going to bring my strokes so I come around into this focal point. So my strokes will bring around, make trails out of it, but not, you'll discover the obvious path, but you won't be locked into it so much as you will be. Now, I guess an artist observes it and they'll know exactly what I've done, and they might say, how obvious, Big Toad. Who do you think you are being so obvious? Why can't you be more creative than that? I don't know. Guess not. Guess not. Probably going to have to mix up a bunch more greens to make this transition. Going to need a lot of light greens. See, there's a nice, bright, warmer green. Still yet, I can green up. I can warm up some more. Get some titanium white, and there we got a nice pool of really warm, a really nice warm green. You say, oh, that's almost too warm. Well, right here where I have these highlights, I'm going to pop it in there. It's going to mix in with some of the other colors as they do, like I did in my rocks. I think it's going to work out really great. So let's try this a little warmer green, but not too warm yet. See how that just really, I can pop in these highlights here. I can come over here even and pop in a little highlight up there. You say, oh, you can't hardly see it. That's all right. You're not supposed to see it. You're supposed to feel it. It's supposed to call to you and make you want to look and see what's going on in there. So taking some of this darker green, moving it in there. Now I come back and get this medium lighter green. And tapping that in there with some small strokes. And now bring the really light yellowish warm green to, okay. Now I can add some of that in here. See, it's not too much though, see. Tap that in there and create some vibrancy and flow without that color overwhelming it. I like it. I like what I've done there. All right, get that off of there. Go to this pale green. That will trail down here. It's light, yes. Now start bringing these, wrapping these around and creating a pathway down the mountain. Create a pathway down the mountain for your eye to travel. How does your eyeball get to the bottom of the mountain? That is the question. Again, using lots of paint, piling it on. I'm going to get some, here's some really vibrant. Put that in there to catch that light. I'm going to bring in something a little darker, just right on this edge here. See where that does and direct my eye with it that way. Okay. These little strokes matter. Strokes of precision. The color going right where I want it. All right, I'm going to make this shelf, brighten this shelf up a little. You see? Because that's a shelf of beautiful grassy cover, so it's going to be lighter. I can see where I need some dark to make this transition here. Let me get some more dark. Might have to. Okay. There we go. All right, now. Okay, now let's get back in this color. Transition out of this lighter. We got the darks. Let's go in there with some nice bright green now to this. Get this color green in there. I'm going to put in darker speck of green in that. Break up that. In there too. Okay, so I've created now this, starting to get it around into these pathways for finding my way down the slope. See, I'm starting this curl around. I'm going to use a bright, tap it in there. Not to just want to see. I'm going to make a pathway, with just that tricks your eye into following it. So I'm going to bring in some very light there we go. Maybe tuck that in. Okay, I'm going to need to do something here. All right, break up those brush marks a little bit. All right, this color. You see, we create variety. The world is full of variety. All right, let's work on that spot there. Come in there with some nice deep, rich greens under here. We've got some in there already. I might need to work on that spot a little bit, and maybe in here, let's drop in some green there. All right. Man, a little bit of green in there like that. Okay, I got this nice light green, which I need to bring in some color up here. Get some, mostly I needed brush strokes in there. I looked at it and I thought, I don't see the sign of brush strokes that's appealing. And sometimes that's what we want. Is all we want is a brush stroke. I see another spot that, let's see if I can, I gotta liven up this patch here. All right, let's see if I can't get a speck of that. All right, in there, and there, and there. Okay. See, that is adding flavor to my grass. And I can come over here too and add this flavor. Just rather than waste this color, I'll tap it in down here where I know I'm going to need. This is a dark. Oh, and tap that in. Let's go ahead before this stuff gets too mottled in there. All right. Okay. I think I'm liking what's going on there. It's giving me that. I'm allowing my darks to fade in the background, more texture in my brush with the lights. That makes the lights pop out, where my brushwork on my darks are typically a little more subdued in some places. Maybe I could do better at that, but here especially, because green's tough to work with. But anyway, I think that they're working well, giving me the nice abstract look that I'm after. Oh, this is taking a while. Sorry, but I'm enjoying it. And hopefully, if you've watched some of this, it will teach you how to save that painting and put away your reference material. Sometimes the reference material is your enemy, and you've just got to get rid of it. That's what I would do. And that's what I did here. I just get rid of that reference material. It's not helping. It's not helping at all. That's why, well, it wasn't helping me. But sometimes that's what happens. The reference material becomes the enemy. It gets you off and started right, but then it becomes more of the problem. Yeah. All right, now we're popping down this hill with our greens, and it's looking mighty good, if you ask me. I'm going to give some quick dark color strokes in here to build off of, because I know I got to get down to the bottom of this speed that process up a little bit. And same with here, just extra paint. All right, I think I can move that. Move that. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I like that. Brought that in. I think when you're doing greens, it doesn't hurt to have lots of different colors of green out there, as you can see. And this is a style I'm doing here. Do I always paint this way? Absolutely not. I don't. But I changed up, experiment, and felt like my painting was dying on the vine. So what do? I go a different direction with it. All right, I'm just taking this extra green that's on my brush and tapping it out there, getting getting some basic strokes in. This is a lighter green, so adding it where I know I need to bring in some highlights, rather than allow that to get wasted. All right, covered a lot of ground quick with a move like that. Let's get into some of that darker colors here. I'm bouncing around now a little bit because I've got the color I want, and but it also adds some lightness to that. See, um, tap in some darker mess here and there, and some light. So, is my green telling a story, creating a map of where you need to go on your visual journey? That's kind of over dramatic, but you get what I'm saying. Create a flow. Everything is a river. Everything is a river of rock coming down, hitting this, following this river down, boom, into my focal point, onto my creek. A river coming down this way, following, swooping into there. A river here, going this way. A river coming this way. Trickle over there. A river bounces off of here, comes down here. Every place is a river. Every place brings us there with this, just the stroke of your brush. Um, a river of color. A river with purpose. Nature's sending us a message. Nature is telling us where to go. And a lot of times it's telling you where you don't want to go, but in this case, it's directing you to a pleasant place. Now I'm going to bring in a tad of powerful yellow there. I don't like what I'm seeing. Why? Don't like that. Now I'll bring in this brilliant green. It's creating us a map to the fall. This whole landscape wants you to follow the map. See, composition is, you can be a great painter, and if your composition sucks, if it's not good, if it doesn't work for the viewer, then every brilliant brush stroke you made fails. Every color mixed perfectly fails. The composition fails. Now, is this a great composition? I don't know. Sometimes it's easier said than done. I'm not saying it because I'm an expert and always get it right. I just know that that is one of the more critical parts of our painting. And when you begin to think composition over color, and then you've heard it said, right? If you've watched enough videos, um, value is more important than the actual color, right? We all know that. We all know that. I'm actually lighten it up a little bit, put a little bit of white in there, but I need some darker green. I want it to be dark here and flow into. And let me get closer here for a second. I think I need a little bit of dark there. I think I can get away with. No, it's not dark enough. Is that not dark enough? I think I need to bring in. I don't know why, but I just felt like I needed a punch of darkness in there. Punch of darkness to move this river downhill. Now I'll come in with some greens and disturb the river a little bit, like there are stones in the path. Light stones in the path. All right. I think I want to add a little in there. You're saying, is this working or is this not working? I don't know. I may never know if it's working or not working. It may not be for me to know. All right, creating the river. All right. Well, I'm gonna tag in this. I'm gonna save the water for the last thing, but I got to get some more of this color in here. Uh, it's a little brighter, so I've got that color already. So why don't I go ahead and tap into it and get moving on that. Pretty easy. Now we've established such a pattern of color and texture. Everything now begins to fall into place. Let's bring in a touch of direct burnt sienna. All right. You just the flexing around with those colors, it already made you feel like it was good. Or that's how it made me feel. It made me feel like everything I've done before now has been to make this part of the painting easier. Put a little darker over on this side. Touch of the dark in here. Maybe get that a little darker. Again, I'm going to come over this with, and I'm going dark here because I might have some shadow on these rocks from the overhang. And so I break that up a little bit. This side will be lighter, of course, because we know it's in the sun, and it'll be lighter until we get to here, and then it'll start dropping off into this and it gets darker. Okay, so now we can get we can get the darker color coming in here now. We already had kind of a dark there. I'm not really liking what I'm doing here, but I'll get some paint down. Give me a deep dark layer paint. Again, it doesn't look good, but prepares the. Okay, now, all right. I haven't washed my brush in a while. It's getting caked up pretty good. Okay. Since I'm doing a lot of earth colors and a lot of these colors are mixing together, it's okay if my brush isn't clean. Sometimes it just gets a little too much. Okay. All right. Now that's kind of a cool. I want to bring in some warmth in here because it's following the stream. The stream is going to be cool because it is going to be the water, which is going to be mostly blue. Excuse me, it's going to be a lot of white. So I can bring in some warmth down there, even though it's dark. And now I'll bring in some really heavy pieces of streak that in there. Okay. All right. Now I'm getting some color built up, but especially on that one side now, I need to start bringing in some of my mountain color now. See, I think you'll quickly see that it needs some of that mountain color to make it work. Bring in some dark. Now, I'm going to bring in some, like I did on the top, some ultramarine blue too, and some really deep color here. And some yellow. That's a very cool dark. That's a very cool dark, but I think I need to lay some of that cooler dark in there. Now I can come on top of it with some warmer darks and not feel like I'm overdoing it now. So it's just bringing out that. Okay. All right, step back, took a look. Looks pretty good. I'll find my paper towels. Okay, so I went really dark in here. I am gonna put some lightness in there to offset some of that darkness, so it's not quite so fantastical. But I want to be careful with what light I put in there. Some dark gray to help soften it. Okay. Let's see, what can I do with that? All right, too powerful. Too powerful. So let's come back over that with some, trying to get the right feel. Not sure what that right feel color is going to be. Let's see, now that's got some warmth to it. And it introduces some depth that I hadn't had in those rocks before. I just got to be careful where I put that in there. Yeah, I like it. Okay, don't get too carried away there, big toad. Come in here with a, there we go. Need to strike that chord there with some light color. I like that color and coming in here right there. This gives me some warmth down in these shadows. And I can use that maybe up here. a little bit in a couple spots. You never hard you typically don't want to use the color one place only. You've got it someplace, put it somewhere else too. Even if it's just minor, something about it pleasing to the eye when you see that same color repeated somewhere. I mean, it is nature, by the way, so it brings in some nice browns, doesn't it? I like that. Bring some warmth into some of the cooler areas without bringing high chroma. It's a low chroma warmth, I think. Compared, I mean, it's all relative. It's all relative, isn't it? So I'm just going to tap this in a few spots. I really like, I think I want a little tab of that in here, right there. And maybe introduce some down here at the bottom of the hill on both sides. Maybe it's a color that comes alive near the water. We'll see. All right, that's probably enough. All right, but it gave me some warmth in my dark rocks. Now I can come back in and cool some of that. Yeah, and cool some of that. I'm liking what we're doing here. I'm liking what we're doing here. We got a spot now to bring the water down, and everything's getting funneled into it. Let's go back to working on greens. Now that we've kind of patched in our where we want the water to flow, we've created a lovely illusion of color that takes us down our mountain. One step at a time, flowing into the creek, because everything flows downhill. Everything flows downhill. I'm bringing in some color behind this now. So that creates a kind of a transition from that dark into that light, meaning another hill. We're going to have some darker greens here in a minute. Got to get some of that in here. Sometimes I just want to get in close, especially when I've got it down to a process where I will have to. I like that because sun's really going to hit that spot. Okay. In fact, I want to really pop some streak of color right there. Why? I don't know. I want it. We're getting into some deeper, darker green colors in here now. And those can start getting bigger strokes, I think, and they'll start looking good as we get further down the mountain. And I think I can do that on both sides. Now we start coming in with some darker greens, see? And it's going to have some specks of that black in it. And I might even go back in and do some specks of black. Okay. All right, now getting into this dark over here. We want to create beautiful chaos with the foliage. Beautiful chaos. Oh, I want to bring in some of that dark and really cut into that spot there. I bring in a light. Why I want a light? I'm gonna stick it right up against that. Why? I don't know. I think I'm just sun's just catching that spot maybe. And also bring it in there. All right. Now I can start coming in with the darkers underneath it. All right, so now I start getting down here, and I can really, in this corner, I can really get into some darkness here, because this is not where I want any attention to be at all. So I want to get away from that. So I can bring in some messy paintbrush strokes. They do not matter. I just want to get some dark paint on the board. I can add some, and if you get close, I don't know if you can tell where you're at, but there is some differing of the color there, so it's not all. Now I can come in with a little lighter and make the transition color into some of the lighter, but not too much. Now I bring in some magical lightness. See, all that paint on there has allowed me to be more free. I can be more free now with my color because my brush, because I've got that paint on there that does a lot of the work for me. And so is it possible to get too much paint on your palette? I don't know. I suppose maybe it is, but hey, I've never had a palette break in half because it got too much paint on it. But as you can see, it created now this illusion of this getting deeper in these shadows. I can lighten that up a little bit there, and the sun taking your eye off of here, so that if you get into this corner, you don't want to stay there. You want to come over to this and follow that up. Now I've got to do the same on this other side as well. I'm going to go in with start off. I'll be honest. I'm starting off right here in the corner with ivory black. Of course, my brush has some dark green in it, so it's not exactly ivory black, and it is actually coming out with some green. So now I can come in with a darker green in it and just mess with it and go from there. All right. See, all this work here, all this texture of brush work has allowed me now to get down here and just really free flow this and cover some canvas quickly, because it's going to pull your eye right up into that river of trees and color. And so I will continue that as I this will taper into this um, until eventually it kind of goes away here. But so I'll continue that a little bit further, but that river of color, and maybe bring a river up in this way too. This is kind of in the shadows. That's why it's so dark. So I'll tap in some of that color there. All right, get back to it. I'm going to go up higher with this black right to the edge. You see, because black is good. It can be your friend, especially it's not real black because it's got my green built into it. So yeah, am I putting ivory black right on there? And so many structures would tell you not to, but it's creating, it's part of my composition. It's going to force you in. Now I'm going to come back in with greens and I'll pull that back into the black, and I'll leave a lot of that black. We'll start to fade away now as we come back the other direction. All right, let's start with some straight greens in here. The darkness of it all. All right, got that covered with some paint. I'll come in with some lighter greens and tap it in there. Maybe lighter still, since I've got. All right, well, that'll look better when we actually get into more of the color we want. Okay, get some of this vibrant yellow down here. It's as if it's just started to catch the light right in there. And I'm going to just put in. All right. I think I want some of that over here too, to really catch this light coming up this hill. So I just went in there with a cadmium yellow light with a dirty brush with all my other colors on it. Didn't care. Was able to just pull in some so it didn't become overpowering. It provided me some starking highlights in there to give it a little more life. And now I can come in as I get closer to this bottom here and start working in this color. And I don't have to be careful around that edge. I do want to bring in some more lightness here. All right. Been talking a lot, taking a break. If you hear this section, what I'm thinking right now is this is going to be so long, I might have to double speed this video and just narrate what I'm doing here so that we get the, I want to, right there, I want the grass to look like it's coming onto the rocks. I'm not trying to make it look the other way, like the rocks are coming onto the grass. Because typically rocks are there and then they're gone because the grass covers them. I found a lot of rocks digging, but never found much grass digging. I wanted the a little lighter there, and I may have overdone it, but that's all right. I got lots of color in here to, like I was getting some light, but I don't think I want that much light. Kind of gets it a different look though. Fades into the stream a little bit. Kind of like what I've done. All right, keep going with the dark. So I'm bringing the, now I'm trying to bring the green back into the darker. I use some bigger strokes here because this is, the strokes are all telling the same story though. The story I'm telling is follow the slope down the hill to the beautiful stream. That's where you want to go. That's where your eye needs to go. Follow, follow down the hill. All right, getting a little punchy. See, I can come in there though with some lights now and create some movement, some in the hillside. See how easy it's getting now? I don't have to work so hard because I've created the atmosphere. I've created the illusion, the effect I'm after. Now it's just starting to fall into place without thought, without trouble. It's becoming a living a living picture where I can start bigger, broader strokes because, again, why? I can go bigger and broader because I'm away from the focal point. Now, is that always the case? No, the small little strokes give the illusion of detail, while the big strokes uh, show less detail. And your mind says, move away, follow those away from the focal point, or I should say, towards the focal point. And so, yeah, I like it. I like what's happening to my painting now. I actually went to bed last night thinking, oh man, what have I done to that stupid painting? Then as I lay there thinking, I do my best painting in bed at night. Um, I realized I need to take this in a different direction. And that's why I came back and I wanted to show you, even though you didn't see me do the rest of the early part of it, you've been there. You've gotten past the block in. You've started into your painting, and then it began to fall apart on you. And so what do you do? What do you do? You can't just quit. You can't just quit every time that happens. Because what are you going to learn? You got to learn to save the art. What do I mean by that? Save that painting that you think is lost. How do I retrieve? How do I recover from what I think is going to fail me? Now I can come in with some lights. Wow, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. I can come in here now with this. All right, I'm thinking that's looking pretty good. Get her up close and look at it. See, I can do a lot of work on the sky still. Look at the brushwork there. Is what does this, the brushwork. So let's pan back a little bit, get you in close. Maybe I need to video from at this angle. But yeah, we'll come back tomorrow, work on the putting the water in, maybe do some more work on that sky. Now the sky looks weak compared to the rest of the painting, but I like the effect I'm getting. I like the abstract look. I like what this is becoming. So